Hi everyone, I am back for day 11 and this is a Concertina panel. So what you'll need, and you might have some left over, but what I've got is boards that have minimum type on, so as much just empty paper. So I've got 2 at the moment. I've got to make another 2. Your tub of scraps, but aiming for some that are not with any type on. Bits of old writing paper. You can find some of these, the edges of the margins of old books are quite thin. You can even use, well, that's empty, but so if you've got a printable and you've got a scrap, you can just use the other side. So I need to make 2 more of these. It's a very hot day today, so this is a lovely thing to do in the cool house. Now, like I say, I love to leave a number here, there and everywhere. It's just something I like. Or I left on this one, I was Queen of France, because I just thought I'll leave that. That was funny. Made me laugh. I'll leave it there. Now, the reason we're leaving these a bit blank is so we can do our own sketches over the top, our own little pictures, our own designs, whatever we want. So here. So I've just noticed on this bit of paper that it's got Queen Adelaide. So I'm not really intending this to be that prescribed, but as one of them came out with I was the Queen of France on there, I think that I don't know. I think that you can use a little bit of type to maybe give you something to jump off from. So it's starting to kind of give me drawings of people with crowns on. That sort of a vibe. So I'm just finishing up the last one, and what I've been putting on is a little bit of tracing paper just to break up any of the lines, add another layer of texture. So I've only got this little bit of green, and these ones are very blank. These ones have got more of the lined paper. So the next step we're going to take is making a decision which order you want them in, whether you want them this way or this way. I'm sort of thinking possibly this way. Might have the more blank ones at the back and the front, start and the end, if that's how you want to look at it. So they'll go like this. Like that. I'll show you. That probably wasn't a good example. Okay, so we're going to join these together now, and there are a number of different things you could do to join them, but you're going to leave a little bit of a gap in between each one, just like we did for these books, so that they fold. This isn't going to be folding flat because you're standing it up when it's finished, but if you wanted to pack it away, you still might want to have that little gap there. So, material, paper, washi tape, We're not doing anything on the back because that'll be tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to use the back of this whole thing. But we do have to join these and do some work on these today. I'm actually thinking I might use some washi tape. So tomorrow we're going to cover the back fully, so you don't need to worry too much if there's a bit of a gap and the washi tape is coming through. This gap might be a little bit too big. I like that this one's sort of hanging over and almost joining the next page. I'm going to get a more heavy bodied gesso for the background. When I've been using this white one, it's a very, very light, watery acrylic paint. I like it because it's a nice bright and it dries to a permanent satin, which I love as well. But because I've got the washi on here, and today and tomorrow we're going to be using a lot more ink and paint, I am definitely going to seal this with some heavy body gesso. There's two types of gesso. You can get a white or a black gesso, just basic standard. You can actually buy coloured gesso. I'll show you an example. So this brand, Matisse, Derivan Matisse, these are coloured gessos. So they're wonderful if you're using them in layer work because they dry and then you can paint over the top and they don't budge, they don't move. So I've got a number of coloured gessos. There is this one. This is Liquid Gesso Primer by Italia, and it's a bit more expensive, this one, but this one is so beautifully creamy. I just love, love, love to use it, and it's my go-to for most things. When I've been using this one to just add white out, it's because I know I'm not painting over the top, but the gesso, definitely you can paint over the top of. You could, so for this particular one, what I want actually is my transparent gesso, which I cannot find. I was thinking you won't even notice it's on there because you see everything through it. And it's got this amazingly, if you feel it, it feels rough like sandpaper when it's dry, and it gives a great base for painting without losing your background. However, I think I'll use this one today. Okay, it's quite warm in here today, so it's probably a good thing in terms of getting some drying time. I'm putting in my palette so I can actually shut the lid and just water it down a little bit. Yeah, because it's so warm in here, it might be nice to keep the lid a little bit shut today. So the background can be as heavily gessoed or as lightly gessoed or as watered down. It's entirely up to you. I know a lot of the time when I'm working, my piece isn't starting to really speak to me till I'm sort of like, I'm not thinking before I started this that it's going to look a certain way at the end, because I just don't work that way. You might work a different way. You might go, I really want my piece to be, and that's perfectly fine. There's no problems with that. Probably put out a little bit too much gesso here, but that's okay too, because I'll get out a canvas or two and put some background on. So with this, you'll get some bits lifting up. Does not bother me. We can give it a very, very light sand if we like. So I've got some really more dense bits and then some more watered down bits. This bottle of gesso is actually getting a bit old, so it is a little bit dry. And I love this effect of getting the bits of the background through. When this dries a bit, if pieces have been lifting up like that one is, we can just re-glue them. It's no stress. Sometimes they're a good little way to get some inspiration if there's particular lines showing up. So I'm going to have to leave this to dry, but you can have a look through. I've only gone over the Queen Adelaide fairly lightly, just very light over any numbers, and this one, I Was Queen of France, is sort of a bit more obvious. Going to go around the edge of that. I love that as a heading actually. So I'm going to leave this to dry and then come back. Okay, I'm back and you can see it's curled up a bit as it's dried. Mainly the style of the paper, but it's okay because we're going to stick something on the back and it'll flatten it out a bit. So like I said, some of these bits will have curled up. Just re-glue them down. So like I say, it's very hot here today, so that's why a lot of this is curling up. And I'll just show you. They're going to go like this. I don't mind using a bit of washi to stick some of these down. You can make it part of your design. Now I'm still thinking a little bit about nature and plants. That's what I've been focusing on. So I'm going to get a little bit more washi, just get these little edges that are sticking up, just to have a bit of help to stay down. Now earlier when I was putting the collage on, I was thinking I've got Queen of France, Queen of Adelaide, and that made me think a little bit about crowns. So this is how it's going to go. Obviously when it's the back is on it, it's going to flatten out, and then we'll press it under books. So of course, having the gesso on, I just realised that the gesso has meant that the washi on the edges is not holding it down as well. So it's something to think about if you're watching this before you do yours. Maybe you might want to get all your washi down on your edges before you gesso it. So I was thinking about crowns, which will be a bit of a theme through it. So I'm quite happy to just draw a funny little crown here and there. You don't have to draw it in pencil if you don't. If you're fairly confident with your drawing, you could go straight ahead and use anything. Poscas. I've got some poscas here. A nice yellow. I'll get a little bit of paper. Just if you don't know much about posca pens, they do need to be activated. The reason we lay them down flat rather than store them like this is because the paint will lay flat in there, and then if you press it, some of mine are a bit funny, they just, if you press it too much comes out, but I particularly like this one because it makes good splatters. So I'm just going to see how I go with this. Yeah, no, it's working okay. Get a little bit of a crown. See how a little bit of type, without even thinking about it, has already sparked some interest for what design we might want to put on here. Some gems. It's a bit of a masculine crown, this one. Few dots, that line over there, there's a crown, some vines or flowers, got a watercolor pencil. I'm going to use a little bit of wet glue because the washy's not sticking to that gesso. I have also got some, these are oil pastels, but they're fluoro ones. But I thought I might use a bit of that for a bit of a stalk, the leaf. You can start to fill up each of these pages as much as you like. Bit of a vase of flowers. Got one of these twistables, these kids' Crayola crayons. So just have fun, have a play. Whatever you like, add as much as you like, have a play, wet down that Inktense. That'll become permanent once it's wet and set. Maybe over here a more dainty crown. More flowers. Just going to set this first fluoro pink for the petals. And you can just keep on building. Just realise that's a watercolour. So we can wet it to activate it, get it nice and bright. But I'm also thinking, like, I've got some of these colours. Some nice little splotches of colour will be good. These are great, these little silicone brushes. Just really good for doing this sort of thing. Some colours onto the background. Liking having some brights here. So this one's one of the ones where it's just going to keep needing bits of drying times between. It's a bigger project for one of your longer days. But I'm going to keep working on it, and I'll come back when I've filled up a lot more and show you. Okay, I have come to a place now where I want to let some of it dry, and I want to come back and add anything that I might like to add that has relevance. This jumped out at me, this bit of text. I'd travelled all my life and I thought, what a great line. And then I saw this line, nothing could have prepared me for my new home in Paris. So I've put them on the second and the last pages. Some of the drips are still drying, but I actually don't mind if I put it up and they drip down a little bit. I'm okay with that, but it's designed to sit like this on a shelf, and we'll be working on the back tomorrow. So we're going to let this have a good dry overnight, and we'll be back for the last episode tomorrow. And I hope there's been enough inspiration for you to have a really good play through these holidays. You can always come back and do some things later. There's no rush either. So thank you. I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.